there was kind of a transition when I started playing really well because I was undrafted coming out, and then I started, really ascending, and so I remember that having that transition, and kind of seeing my name on, seeing my face on the stadium, and my mom first seeing that, and obviously you signing more autographs, and you're doing that deal, and now I have a son who's coming along, and they're doing some of that stuff a little bit earlier than what we did during our time.
A little bit earlier,
yeah. So I see, so it's cool, man. That's culturally, that's a fun part of it, especially if you grew up during our era,
Yeah. Jameel Muhammad and Jeff Cardozo dive into the hobby, which is sports cards, trading cards, as well as all other collectibles, right now on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, live from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
All right, here we go again. It's the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Jameel Muhammad, Jeff Cardozo here with you. Happy you have joined us, our 45th episode. So we're not the 23, Jordan. We're
in the 4-5.
The other guy.
We get to play games with you. It's to aim at you.
Is that still a thing? Like, are there anything out there like memorabilia-wise at 45?
Ooh, there's some cards that use 45 jersey. People always associate 23, but 45. What 3 championships?
Sure.
I mean, it's the 45. It's the Jordan
crazy.
comeback. You know what I mean? Like those 3 years. But people love they love seeing cards that have kind of uniqueness to them, and I think he doesn't have as many as obviously 23. So people love it. Jordan.
Well, it's not 45, just 5. We're going to talk to a guy that wore that number, Earnest Graham. He is our guest today, former Gator running back, played with the Bucs for many, many years.
There you go.
Played with a ton of studs over all those years. So it'd be fun to catch up with Earnest and hear some stories, see if he collected a little bit. And I'm sure he's got some memorabilia from some dudes that were pretty darn good that you probably want to steal from him, go into his house and break in or do something.
I don't want to break in because there's been a lot of that in the news recently.
So
but I'll trade him. I'll trade him something.
Yeah, trade him. But leading into that, and I guess that's where I see this story come up on my thing, and I'm anxious to ask you, like, this just like total fraud case, and I mean, guys are selling Kobe stuff and all. Like, what the heck is going on? So,
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people. This is kind of news that's been matriculating and it's been changing here and there, but loss of life, suicide, $350 million. You hear these things and you're like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So I would say this, to just kind of zoom out a little bit so people can understand, there's always been forgeries in sports card market. Sure. And I think as someone who's seasoned, you know when you see things that don't look right. The sad thing about this is that the claim is the gentleman who's no longer with us was faking the certs. So JSA certs, Fanatic certs. There's talk about other different companies as well, and then applying them to items and then forging the signatures. This is not so much a card thing as it is a memorabilia thing.
Yeah.
So are there man caves that have fake stuff in it?
Probably.
Yeah. And are there man caves that have a JSA and Fanatic cert and maybe a PSA cert that these are the creme de la creme, and now you have to kind of second guess that? Yeah, that's definitely possible. It's a tricky world because if that's the case, there's still a lot that has to come out about this still, right? It's still pretty fresh. But if that's the case, there's going to be some backtracking from these companies to say, here's how you can tell ours are real. Here's how you can spot the fakes. And then a lot of people are going to be. I had a guy on eBay buy a PSA Kirby Puckett card from me that was 2 years ago and saying like, oh, it's fake. Well, I literally walked through it. Have to dress him down a little bit, but walk through it and said, just because you heard something on blah, 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 doesn't mean the card's fake. You know what I mean? And we were able to kind of talk through it a little bit and he understood. But this has caused a lot of concern. And it's, it comes out 2 weeks before the National.
Yeah.
And, from a memorabilia standpoint, there's a lot of memorabilia at the National that people are selling. So I think it's eye-opening. I don't think those numbers are correct, the scaling of it. I mean, I saw, the guy, was gloating about replicating 3 million JSA certs. So in my mind, I think, all right, well, you did 3 million JSA certs. How do you replicate 3 million memorabilia items? Like, that's not an easy thing to do. You know what I mean? So like, and then if that's the case, only 350 million is it'd be way more than that.
Right,
so numbers don't make a lot of sense. What I will say is that the way this is kind of oozed into cards is there's like Mahomes autographs and other guys that had some very basic autographs where it does seem like there's some forgeries, out there in cards, but these are aftermarket cards, right? These are cards that are aftermarket and signed. I would always say this, if you see a card that's not pulled from a pack and it just looks funny, it doesn't look like what you've seen, don't buy it, because I definitely think there are some forgeries that I've seen in the card market over the past 20 years, in PSA slabs or JSA slabs or Beckett slabs where you're like, that doesn't seem right. So if somebody can't really give you the provenance, and it doesn't sound right, if it smells like a fish, it probably has gills and moves like this. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. So unfortunately, that's where we're at in the hobby, and hopefully we'll get some resolution to this by the national or after the national. But it's definitely gonna be a big talking point.
Yeah, and it's scary for sure. So I anxious. We will address this topic again. I think once more information turns out, and what can be done, and how you rectify some of this stuff, which I don't know if you certainly can. But you mentioned the national, so now it's this big deal. Everybody's going. It's the coup de grace, of it all. So I'm sure it doesn't change anything, but it's crazy that it's another year of millions and millions of people, it seems like, walking through and taking this hobby that you love so much and getting a bunch of cards, and it should be a fun thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the hope for the national has always been it's a family reunion. It's this element of seeing people. There are people that will come up to the national only trade or buy or sell with Meelypops because they've known us for years, and I'm just one of many vendors that people do that with. And so it's the connections, it's the community. We'll get to talk with Ernest here about coaching soon and the community that he's built. I think that world permeates so much in the hobby, and I think it will obviously it'll rise above. But just last check marks. You have to get the team ready to go, and it's here. So the National in Chicago, it's going to be there 3 consecutive years, and then in 2028, 25, 26, 27, 28, there's a vote if it's going to be in Detroit or Atlanta. Oh. So maybe we'll go to your stinky Brave city, but Atlanta's a great city. Just they have the Braves.
I was just there for the All-Star game. Got to go be a part of that, so that was cool. Saw the Pete Alonso hit a homer, and was hoping that Schwarber hit all 3, and then the Rays guy couldn't hit one. Pete would have come in and probably been the MVP.
That's true.
If he got one at the end, and then
fun experience.
Pete cards would have gone. Cool experience. Yeah, got to go with my son. Yeah. So that certainly made it great, and you just get to see all these great players in one spot. So I think that's the neat part about it. We get to see and be around athletes all the time, but just never all in one place like that. So and Skeens is throwing, and and then all of a sudden, Scooble's throwing to Ohtani, and all these other things. So it's a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, and just the awe, right, and what these guys can do. You know what I mean? It's amazing, and we'll see where I heard that you opened up a box of All-Star Mega Box, All-Star specific, and you got housed.
Yeah, I didn't do too good.
We got to work on Jeff's ripping skills.
Yeah, we got to choose wisely better. All that. All right, we chose a good guy to talk to on the podcast. Earnest Graham will join us when we come back here from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Hey everybody, welcome back inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in the Meldon Law Studios. Jameel, Jeff, and now our guest, Earnest Graham, the Gator. Can't ever say former Gator, he's never former. He's always a Gator. Now coaching up here locally at Santa Fe High School, so a lot to talk about. But you're looking good, man. Looks like you still play.
Oh man, I tell people all the time, goal line cares only. I can get short yardage goal line in situation. I can get that done now. Anything longer than that.
Well, and this will be fun. We got a lot to talk about, different things, but I guess just for people that maybe don't know, I mean, you were so good in high school. Obviously, all these accolades, and probably could have gone a whole bunch of different places. Like, were you a Gator fan, or like, why did you come here? Did Spurrier give you some great speech? Like, what was the reason you got to Gainesville?
It was multiple reasons, and so I was definitely a Gator fan. A couple of my best, friends were Gators already. Javon Curse was like a big brother to me. He's from Fort Myers. He was here already. Teddy Dupay, who I played basketball with, and we're best friends. And he was coming, and we had dreams of coming together. Also, I was going to play baseball and football, and I thought it was the best opportunity to do both. So that played into my decision.
Yeah, we could have been teammates.
Could have been teammates for sure.
They never let you sneak over.
Never let me did. No, it was a quick. It was a pretty quick conversation with Coach Spurrier after one spring, and he kind of patted me on me. You know how he does, real short. He kind of patted me on the back. I had a really good spring, and he kind of let me know I wasn't going to play here. Baseball. Then a couple other guys played too, but
yeah, it was played. Yeah, I mean, Riche came over.
Riche, but I don't know. It was different for me.
Well, I'm just imagining, you just mentioned Javon Curse. I'm imagining him in baseball, like Aaron Judge. Like, could you imagine facing someone like Javon Curse to play
freak?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Imagine seeing him at safety when I was in high school in Fort Myers. He was a free safety.
Oh, my God.
And also, you were breaking through the line, and he was, he's coming
You're
down.
going straight to the line.
Like get people up. You're standing on the other side, and you look over there, you see a 6'5" safety.
Well, and speaking of Javon, real quick, just a story. So I came to Gainesville. I was like 160, just like a rail, little nothing. Didn't work out a lot in high school, so they're trying to put bulk on. So I sit on the leg press, and we work in the same place as football guys. So I look over, and Javon sits on the leg press right next to me, and I've got like 45s on each side. And I'm like, well, crap, this isn't going to go good. And he puts like 8 plates on and all this stuff. And
that dude is a specimen. You go to Fort Myers, anybody who has a last name Curse is kind of built like him. It's pretty.
It's that way.
Wild, yeah.
That's crazy.
No question, man.
When we talk about Curse, and you had some amazing career at Florida. Like, you think back now, you're coaching now, and you're in these game time situations. Do you ever like zoom out for a second and be like, man, there was that one game or there's that one moment that really sticks in your brain, or is it all just all a blur?
It is. It's all for me. It's kind of all a blur. Like sometimes I'm talking to people and they'll talk about moments in games. I'm like, I don't remember, but I'm sure I've taken a lot of hits. So, no, I do lean on, a number of experiences that I've definitely, had in sports. So I play with a lot of great players and, seen a lot of, not only great players, but great coaches, really thrive in situations. So you try to lean on, that type of wisdom and that type of experience that you had. It's a bit different, being a coach.
Yeah.
As a player, the more relaxed you are, the more aware you are, of what's going on, in the situation, the more, someone else is typically doing the preparation for you. So, now as a coach, you have to prepare others, to be really good. In those situations, to not be anxious and just to lean on their, the teaching. So it's different. It's time consuming, it's rewarding, it's very challenging, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Teddy. It's that dynamic because you guys were like the best of the best down there. So, but he was obviously, the basketball guy, and you're there too. But like you're playing baseball and football. Like, were you the big man on campus, or? Because he was doing his thing, like
Ted was like always. Ted was the, Ted was the big guy. Ted is a unique, and I don't say that because he's my friend. That guy is a unique individual. Let's be honest. He's a 5'9" white kid, who averaged 41.6 points a game. And we didn't play, we weren't playing small private school basketball. We were a 6A school. We went to all the major tournaments. I saw this guy. I saw the greatest standing ovations you've ever seen.
Real.
People chanting his name. He really is. People say step before step. He really will. There is footage out there, but, the experience and to be there and to see, what Ted did, during that time. He was truly, bigger than life.
Yeah.
And, the one thing I say this all the time about basketball. One thing about basketball is when you're really seeing a guy, it's really different. Football is still a team sport, and there's special guys in football, but when it's basketball, it's just the nature of it is different. Sure. And you would just see Ted just make these amazing feats, and he taught me a lot about competing. If we were supposed to beat somebody by 40, we were supposed to beat somebody by 40. Yeah. That was a loss to Ted if we won by 25.
Wow.
That's how he was. We were happy we won, and Ted was just, he would walk. He had that kind of chip on his shoulder, Somebody would come out in pregame and pop off, and he light you up for 70. He was like that. Ted was a go-getter, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I enjoyed playing. And I tell you, we played some amazing teams, and he had his way with people. Yeah. He always got it done.
So you think about that for a second, Ernest, like going from high school to college, you have this relationship with him, you get to see all that. How does it change? This is kind of a unique perspective you have, right? You guys both move along to the next level in collegiate, sports at Florida. did that relationship for you guys change a lot, or like, I mean, were you close in high school, and did it grow or did it change? Like,
yeah, it grew. It definitely grew. It's grown over the years, you know. So when I came to school, I roomed with Ted. So I got a chance to room with basketball players. So I got a chance to room with, you know, Mike Viller and Darius Halton, you know, Udonis Haslam, you know, Matt Bonner, all those different guys. So I was cool with all the basketball guys. You know, and we've been there, you know, with each other over the years. You know, Ted is like a brother to me. We're like family. Our relationship is, you know, really on the grown. So it did grow during that time. We both wore number 5. You know, we're that close, man. We both came from different sides of the track, which is a cool story, you know, and in Lee County. You know, I lived in kind of inner city Fort Myers, and, you know, Ted lived out in South, you know, what would be considered, you know, probably, you know, South Fort Myers. And, you know, we grew up rivals at first, you know, playing in a what we call the YBA league there. And he, you know, his team always won. But, you know, we think we have him, and he just closed it out every time. And then we became, you know, great friends, you know, in high school. And we had a number of also mentors who helped foster those kind of relationships. We had Tim Maloney, who was a basketball coach here at, you know, the University of Florida, and coached at Baylor and Buffalo and a number of different programs. And then we had Frank Morris, who is an absolute legend in coaching basketball. He's, you know, I came from New York. I was one of the winningest coaches in basketball history, and actually invented the number break. You know, so the number break that you see right now, he took that from lacrosse, brought over to basketball. He was Billy Donovan's high school coach. You know, so he tutored us and brought us along, and kind of everything that I think about sports, I channel that guy. And, you know, in basketball circles and basketball purists, they know, you know, who he is. So we also had, you know, coaches who helped foster our relationship, you know, teach us how to compete, and just brought years and years of experience and wisdom that helped, you know, really mold us as athletes.
Yeah. 5 was my number in high school too.
Is that right?
They gave it to Studs off the ref. And just, you know, I know he would just cross half court and throw it up, right? Like it was just
literally, he come across court and let it fly.
And
two dribbles, you know, we kick it on the break. He pounded maybe one time sometimes, and he would let it fly. And I'm just going to be honest. It's great. It's great as Ted was. We had like a couple other guys, like you know, Ryan Hersig, who was off guard.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of just shooting, you know, Ted was a different player, but in terms of just like shooting the ball, we had a number of guys that could do that. I mean, we averaged, you know, around 100 points a game, you know, during that time, and we were letting it fly all over the place.
Because how many was that?
My senior year, I was averaging 19 or 20, something like that. Our senior year.
Pretty good.
I mean, you know, I was around. So, but I mean, Ted is 41. I was another 20. We had another guard. He was another 20, and same thing. We'd average around 100 points a game.
Yeah.
And our senior year, we were probably all, you know, 6'2" and under. But before that, we had a number of Division I players. We were really good. Number 1 state. We got beat by. We ended up getting beat by Daytona Mainland and State.
Yeah, those are some memories you remember.
Yeah. And we got knocked out by Peter Warwick and crew. And one of the Stoudemire brothers, so Amara Stoudemire's, I believe, older brother, was at Braden Southeast. Okay. There's some great basketball in Florida. And of course, Miami senior, our senior year with Udonis.
Yeah.
And Blake and all those different guys. So, you know, we'd always run into those type of teams, but we had some fun times.
Yeah, thinking about that name, Peter Warwick, wasn't in football too. Didn't him and Culpepper face off in finals, high school finals? I think I heard that. Already heard that. And just the things that happen in the state is amazing. Yeah, I'll do. But thinking about, shout out real quick. I went to Rockledge High School. They're the Raiders. Yep. Santa Fe Raiders. So we got all sorts of connections.
You went to Rockledge.
Yes, sir. 03 is.
It would have been 03.
Yeah.
I remember in '98 there was a really good running back from Rockledge. I can't call him.
Well, there's a guy, Dontavius Wilcox, who went to UCF after, I know, one state. And it's funny, the quarterback is funny, kind of this whole full circle moment. His name was Hunter Pinkston. He just recently reached out to me. He's like, yo, I'm getting into cars. I'm trying to stream on whatnot. My sons want to collect baseball and football now. And I saw him recently. So it's funny how all these high school sports just comes back to the hobby. And so I got to ask you another question, thinking about that. Are there any cool items that you've kept, or has there been a piece of memorabilia or something you got signed from somebody, whether it be college or NFL, that you've kept that you got back in the house?
Yeah, you know, I have a helmet up that I keep from Doug Williams. You know, Mike Allstott, who was like a mentor to me. So I kept a number of things from Mike. Who else? Those would be I think my top 2. Doug Williams and Mike playing with Mike. I mean, some of my favorite players, I've got stuff for them, those guys. So, Derek and the team. I do have, guys that I played with. I do have that stuff, Lito and Todd Johnson and friends of mine. So those things mean the most to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
be friends. We trade jerseys at the end of the year. So I've got Max Stark's jersey, Lito Shepherd's jersey. That's always fun.
You could always ask maybe Derek Brooks for one of his shoulder pads from when he maybe hit you pretty hard and fight. Hey, that's something, you know what I mean? Like that'd be kind of cool, man, to have. When you laid me out, Derek, you know what I mean? This is it. But I can't imagine what it was like reps with Simeon Rice and Derek Brooks and Rondé and all these guys that you went up against. So I mean, maybe that was why you had so much success too.
Yeah, I tell people all the time that's accurate. So when I came in as a freshman, I looked on the other side and it's Mike Peterson and Javon Kurz and John. You got all these different great players on the other side of the ball that as a freshman you have to practice against, every day. I mean, Gerard Warren and all the great defensive linemen, Ed Chester and all these different guys, that you had to play against. And then when I went to the league, I mean, I was practicing every day against what was the best defense and one of the best defenses in NFL history.
Yeah.
With Derek's, Warren, Simeon, as you say, John Lynch, and all the great linebackers that we had, Rondé on the outside, Jermaine Phillips and some great safeties.
Yeah.
That
Bucs royalty, right?
Yeah, and Greg Spires, who was, from Fort Myers, was a phenomenal player. And a lot of guys people don't even realize were, great guys. And I practiced every day against those guys. So they really taught me how, really to be a professional, but it also made me prepared, to play and have a long career.
And if you ever had to get some, oomph to run harder, I mean, you have Mike Allstott back there saying,
those guys too. Michael Maven and Michael Pittman. And,
Pittman.
They were all around backs. They were hybrid backs.
Yeah.
And, people don't realize that I played mostly fullback in the NFL. Mike was a hybrid, fullback, tailback, and then Michael Pittman was kind of an all-around back. He, was blocked, he was a great receiver, as well as ran the ball well. He's a complete back, and, so you learn from those guys.
Yeah. So just transition to thinking about memorabilia, talking about all these names. When you see the Eric Rhett rookie card, the first time you see yourself on a card, right? Like, what's going through your mind? I'm sure you had heroes and stuff back in the day watching football, but then you get that first card, it's a little different back in that era, but maybe signing those autographs, right? And, having sign tons of cards. What's that moment for you like full circle?
Oh, no, it was great, man. I mean, it was a couple, different, thoughts. I mean, it was, fun with me when I was, first, coming out. And then, there was kind of a transition when I started playing really well because I was undrafted coming out. And then I started really ascending. And, so I remember that having that transition and, kind of seeing my name on, seeing my face on the stadium and my mom first seeing that. And, obviously you sign more autographs and you're doing that deal. And now, I have a son who's coming along and, they're doing some of that stuff a little bit earlier than what we did during our time.
A little bit earlier.
Yeah. A little bit. So I see, so it's cool, man. That's culturally, that's a fun, part of it, especially, if you grew up during our era, how we thought about, we were sitting at the lunch table all day, we have our little, a little vinyl or whatever folder there. We
flip the little binders, man.
Flipping through the books and, I had Kirby Puckett and and I had all these different, things that we would, trade at the table. So it was cool to take a part in that.
So you were into the collecting a little bit.
I was, very early on I was. I got away from it later.
Okay.
But it was all baseball for me.
Yeah.
It was, all the Braves, it was Dave Justice and
there you go.
And all these guys when I, finally got
there. Flowers. I heard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Schiffer.
Yeah.
So speaking of baseball, of baseball players, very superstitious. So I had a lot of guys do some weird things. Like, was it that way football as well? Like, were you superstitious? Or is there anything you did that you had to continue to do or not really?
Yeah, I would say I was superstitious. I would take my fingers like a different way all the time. And people actually notice it to me. Sometimes when you're doing something, consistently, you don't even just do it. Yeah, so I would just, tape my fingers. I would just wrap my fingers before every game. And I was like, nobody else does it. Not many other people do it. So I would just, just one roll of tape around every single finger.
Yeah.
And people was like, yeah, you used to tape your fingers up. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I did. Yeah. So, but, no, nothing. I always check out before a game. Like I'm usually watching. Guys are funny because everybody gets pumped up. Like for most guys, for me, it was like the actual opposite. So guys would, walk by my locker and I'd be watching, Avatar: The Last Airbender or something. listen to Anita Baker or something. Yeah. And, so I would just, really chill before games, get in a good space. Yeah.
Was there, you talked a lot about the Florida guys and all the influences. Was there a guy in the pros or maybe a work ethic or something that really stuck out to you? Like just somebody who really molded, you mentioned Allside, you mentioned a lot of people here. Like, was there just something that really, you watch these guys go in and how they prepare that really affected you? And I'll put you on the spot. Was there maybe one guy or one thing that was said to you that really sticks with you?
Yeah, I tell people, I've just said it before, Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
Warren's a brilliant guy. And I think people know that. When I was a rookie football player, we had a exhibition game in Tokyo, Japan. So anyways, I get into the game. I'm running the ball, very well. We're driving the ball down the field. I'm breaking tackles and, doing, pretty well for, a rookie running back. Anyways, we get down to the goal line. I fumble the ball. Okay. They take the ball and obviously go down and score. And immediately, I come off the field after they score and Warren rips me now. Like he rips me a new one. He basically says, man, that touchdown was on you. This is our standard. We don't give up points, and just let me know, just how precious the football was. And from there, I took it upon myself, to really work on protecting the football. And that's because of the guy and the character of Warren Sapp. He didn't have to, I was undrafted. That guy didn't have to come say a single word to me.
Yeah.
Maybe he saw something. It was more about really who he is, right? And they had a standard in that building. They had a way that they went about their business, and anybody who was coming along, they made sure that you knew that.
Yeah.
And, there was times Warren Sapp, man, where I would, have maybe a good day at practice before. I walk in the locker room in the morning, I'm all sleepy, and he'd be pointing at me like, oh, yeah, we're going to get you today. And, what I'm saying? Like, we're going to give you the business today, type of thing. And then, it got you going. But that's how those guys came every day. There was never a dull day. And it was just, it's kind of like, being in the, in the locker room of like, who these guys like almost like Vikings, like popular like warriors, football players, they were warriors, man.
Yeah.
So like I said, John Lynch and all those guys and the way they went about, their business, man, it was amazing. And I just, I thank God to have had that experience.
Yeah. I remember having to cover the Bucs when it was like kind of the tail end of my senior year, and I had to go down and for journalism. I was like my degree, and Warren's sitting in the locker room, and he's just, he's butt naked. He's got a towel, and he's just spitting dip on the ground and just, talking and, holding court. And it was good stuff. But like, when you think about that, so Sapp's a Hurricane, and, Work Done's a Seminole, and
Work Done as well,
Gator, like guys like that. Like, did you guys have like fun stuff where you'd like, if it's Florida's playing Florida State, like you guys are talking trash and
100%,
like some wagers or anything?
Yeah, definitely. Especially, Florida State, my other guy, even with other guys, Joey Galloway, we'd always come together. Couples during that time, we were Ohio State, Florida. So that was constant, because there was a number of us, guys who played college at Florida that were playing, for the Buccaneers at the time. I was actually very fortunate. There was four or five guys from Fort Myers who actually was in the locker room with me at the time. I believe were, either starters or, played for the team. So there was a great rivalry. And I think the Bucs made it a point to bring Florida guys there, maybe, because there was a lot of us there. So that was constant. That was constant. I mean, one of the highlights of my career, on the flip side of the conversation, was having a chance to block for Warren Dunn in 2008. We had an injury at fullback, and, I had just won the starting tailback job, and, I went down to fullback and had a chance to block for a guy who was a legend for you. So that was fun. So at the same time, it was definitely competitive, and we still maintained that rivalry, but, we all, it was all love out on the football field.
We talk about some of the community work done, goodness gracious, like just like it's the idea of what he's done and what he's been about. And I think about who you are now in the community, coaching and mentoring young men.
Yep.
Right. Where does that passion come from? Because like I know it can come from a lot of different places, but internally for you, like what gets you up each day now? You know what I mean? Because it's not a paycheck. We know from the coach's side. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Like what gets you going, and like maybe just share a little bit about what makes you tick.
It's definitely spiritual for me. You know what I mean? So I believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And as early as I can remember, let me just start in my household before I even, move, towards that, path, towards that path. My mom, obviously laid, the foundation for me. So I played 5 sports, girl. Like I was never home.
Yeah.
I can remember riding on the bus home very few times. Like I just didn't. I was always doing, some activity after school. So football, baseball, basketball, volleyball, and track. I played all those. So I was, busy all the time. Point being is I came from an athletic family. Both my older brother was one of the best running backs in Southwest Florida history. He never went to college, but he was one of the best running backs in Southwest Florida history. Both my uncles were, great players, great football players. They also were community guys. So my uncle was the first black pharmacist in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
My other uncle, my Uncle Peanut, he was an educator. He had 4 daughters who, went off to school and became teachers. And that was a big deal in our, obviously a big deal in our community. I would watch them walk around and be who they were in the community, always giving, always walking around, stopping at everybody. We had a real community, really during that time. And that really spoke to me as a young kid. And it was really an experience that I leaned on from seeing it, really from my elders and those who were in close proximity to me, in my family.
Yeah.
So.
And you're saying all that and playing all these sports, things have changed so much, now like the travel ball and, the different things that are going on. So were you very like protective of Miles, knowing that some dudes are out there that, are just trying to, steer people in the wrong direction or just make a buck?
Yeah, definitely. I tell people all the time, Miles only played like 2.5 years of youth football.
Yeah.
Because I was very guarded about the cultures I wanted him to be, really around. Not that they were terrible, but I wanted him to, just obviously, who's leading you and who's talking to your kids every day and, some of the influences they have, you just don't make casual decisions, when it comes to that. So his godfather ended up starting a youth football league down there, and that was the main reason I let him play, because, he could go play for his godfather, who was, shout out to Corey McIntosh, who was a, awesome man in our community. So he played for 2 years there. The reason it's 2.5 is because that third year he got himself in a little trouble and took him out of football. So, because I really wanted him to appreciate it. And then he started playing again. Back in his 8th grade year, he started to play high school football because we were at a private school. He could play in 8th grade. So I was just very guarded really about the cultures that he was around. His first sport was soccer. Was the first sport we introduced him to, and then he played for me in baseball a while. But I was just always, cautious of, the type of cultures influences that, he was around, and I think he appreciates that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I think he appreciates that. Just the fact that you protect your kids and you make them aware of, like we're not just going to go do things just, to do them, who's in leadership and, the values, of the organization is, what you really want to ultimately connect to.
Yeah. Children are a blessing. I'll learn this in a few days. My wife is expecting in just a few days. No, you guys know what it's like seeing your kids and what a blessing they are.
It is.
So as a dad, speaking to a future dad here in a few days, what was it like seeing, Miles play football, Gator Stadium, that first game? Like, what was that going through Dad's mind when you
saw? I was unbelievable. I was nervous. You know what I mean? Like I was never really nervous as a player. When it's your kid.
Yes.
You don't want your kid to get hurt, man. You know what I mean? Like we love him, and we know he's a big, strong kid, but you know how it is. We care for him, but seeing him run out in the stadium, obviously with Graham on the back of his jersey, wearing the same number, that just happened to work out and kind of fall in our lap. So, I just thank God every day. I mean, it was a awesome experience. I mean, you pinch yourself. I always have to, tell people too. My daughter, She's a senior, at the University of Florida.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's a senior at the University of Florida, and she works with the recruiting department.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So he's playing on the field. Out in with that. Yeah, man, she got an activist. Yeah, she got that too. Bob
really hard to do.
Right, so she got in on that. That's awesome. So she's down there working in the recruiting department, and Miles is on the field.
Yeah.
Playing. So my wife Alicia and I mean, we're sitting in the stands, and we just pinch ourselves all the time.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. Like I was never nervous either. You just go out there,
you
control it, but then you watch your kid, and you're like, it's like the most nerve-wracking thing ever.
Yeah. You can see why some parents lose their mind.
Yeah, they go nuts
in the stands.
Yeah,
we probably we understand a little bit more, and we want to support the coach because we know what they we know what they go through. But you can see why it's a lot,
and it's got to be fun. I mean, he gets a pick in the bowl game, and now coming into year 2, it should be a fun.
Should be fun.
Yeah,
I mean, we know the nature of the sport, right? I mean, it's a tough physical game. I remind them all the time, like, especially in football, it's a lot of luck associated and, how far you go really in this game, and, injuries can always happen. I know I had a number of injuries, so there's times where, I wasn't available. There's time where I was available, and, you get a good run, and you never know, how long you're able to suit up and do, and play the game. So, that level of gratitude and appreciation to see your kid, out there playing, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was awesome. All right, you passed the easy part. We got a little segment, Titan MRI, rapid fire questions. So I just throw some stuff at you, see if you can handle it. All right, ready for it?
Yeah, it's like sap on the other side of the line right now.
That's right. You see what's to do. Game day meal of choice.
That's just simple: chicken breast, some vegetables. I keep it pretty simple.
Yeah, easy. Best teammate you ever played with? This might be really hard because and I know you've said a lot through all that, but
Robert Gillespie.
Okay.
I don't know. It's time. Robert Gillespie, Cadillac Williams. Both times.
Cadillac.
Yeah. Robert Gillespie, Cadillac Williams.
Good stuff. Both. Is there an underrated player that maybe people don't know about that you thought was a pretty like a stud? That never really made a big name.
That never made a big name. Oh wow. I say Todd Johnson. I'm not saying because he's my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd was a phenomenal safety at the University of, Florida, was a great player. I would say in the NFL, I always tell people about Joe Jurevicius.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like, dude, you talk about an absolute specimen that if he played today, with the way they play, he'd probably be more of a hybrid tight end today. But, I mean, he's probably, Travis Kelce, but different. Joe Jurevicius he's like one of my favorite players of all time. Yeah.
Is there like a toughest hit you ever remember? Like some
Zach Thomas. Yeah,
really?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Not even close.
He just came in the hole.
Yeah, because it's not, I know Ray Lewis and all these different guys. Those guys are hitters, but they're long guys, so their arms get to you before everything sometimes. But it's this guy your size with no neck.
Yeah.
Style, and it's just all body, And, man, he lit me up one time in the hole. I just coughed the ball up, and it was just like, and he let me know about it.
Of course.
But yeah, Zach Thomas.
That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Zach Thomas, 100%.
Either college or NFL, like the most hostile environment going into
Philadelphia.
Really?
In NFL, 100%.
Don't tell Michael Collins that.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, 100%. In college, I would say LSU.
Okay.
Yeah.
You played another position, what would have been?
Quarterback.
Really?
Yeah, quarterback. I mean, I'm sure I couldn't have played, but if I could.
You can sling it?
Yeah, I can sling it.
Okay.
I can still sling it. Yeah. No, I can still throw it 70 yards.
So you're getting out there with the kids right now and showing the quarterback, hey, this is what you should be doing?
Yeah. Baseball's the right fielder. Like I'm telling you, dude, I had a hose. Yeah.
Had a
hose. Well, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, but it was not normal.
Well, speaking of right fielder and talking about Braves, Acuna had an arm. Maybe you might give Acuna a little run for his money. That play he made the other day. So.
Yeah, that thing was really legit. What's playing in your car right now? Like you're riding around, coming over here. What are you listening to?
Yeah, I still listen to classics. So I tell people I'm a huge Anita Baker fan. So I play a lot of old soul. Anita Baker, Luther. Maybe Luther. Luther. When I'm feeling pretty good. If it's rap, it's like Lupe Fiasco and Young Jeezy. Outside of that, I got some other likes, but those are the probably.
That's good. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Gator orange or the Bucs pewter? Would you look better in?
Gator orange. I'm a Florida guy, so Gator orange. I mean, Tampa's in Florida, but
Sure.
Gator
Wait,
orange.
so you got to have a. You rather run over a guy or put a little spin move on him and juke over?
Run over a guy.
Yeah.
All day long.
Do you remember one that you remember? Really?
I remember a number of them. I can't say, you know what, I didn't run the guy over, but you know, one of my favorite runs is obviously in the Sugar Bowl. You know, when I broke I think it was like a 34, 35 yard for a touchdown, and it was Al Blades and it was other Ed Reed. So, you know, I still arm Al Blades, I did arm Ed Reed and scored.
Baby.
So I messed with her. Yeah, I got to talk about. I married those guys about that all the time. So,
Hurricane Irv.
Is there a favorite play that like Spurrier called that you hope that you heard in the huddle? Like, do you remember it?
Yeah, Bopper. I think Bopper was like an option route.
Okay.
And I like to get out of the passing game,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. So, I believe it's Bopper, which is the option route. So anytime we can run that, I enjoyed it.
What about Gruden?
Oh, plenty of them. Spotted 2-wide banana. I mean, people say that all the time. So when I play fullback, I was always the guy that would slip to the flat.
Yeah.
And, you know, being a hybrid, you know, fullback, tailback, I like catching the ball out the backfield and getting one-on-one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with the secondary guys. So definitely something off of, you know, our power play action, which is Spider 2.
Okay.
Yep.
See, that's all those fun.
I was a West Coast guy, so I could probably go out and run a West Coast offense. Right? Oh yeah,
You try to.
I had a blast playing for good.
So what are you doing now? Like calling plays?
West Coast, yeah. I try to incorporate some of those, you know, high percentage, you know, concepts and, you know, spreading the field horizontally and, you know, possessing the ball for a while. Now, high school is a little bit different because, you know, you try to hold on the ball as long as you're going to mess up at some point. So you need to go for the end zone at some point. But, you know, really trying to, you know, try to drive the ball down the field.
This might be hard, but it's just you know, something I always think about. But there's one game you could go back to just for the fun of it, like, and kind of relive that game or do it over again. Is there one out there?
Definitely as a player, man. As a player, there's what game would I pick? That's a great one. That's a tough one. I would definitely say the Sugar Bowl with Miami. You know, that was a big game for us. And you could pick any of the Florida State games.
Yeah.
But the ones that were actually, you know, close. You know, I would say the, you know, Sugar Bowl versus Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet stuff. And then what about like Sexy Rexy in the huddle? What was he like?
That's awesome. I mean, again, one of my favorite players. You know, playing with Ted. You know, going to high school with Ted and being Ted's friend, and they have some similarities. You know, they're both kind of Maverick type. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know, personalities, and I mean, Rex was as instinctive, and you know, he's just kind of that guy that could just play.
Should have won the Heisman, right?
Should have won that 100%.
Stupid.
100%.
And Eric Crouch.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal player, and you know, again, you talk about games. There's games I also didn't play. You know, so talk about games that you could have back.
Yeah.
You know, and be available. You know, he helped our team up the Tennessee game. You know, to get into the national picture, that probably wins Rex the Heisman too, you know, but, you know, I was out of the fact, but, you know what I mean?
No doubt. Well, Ernest, thanks, man. I appreciate you. It's fun, you know, catching up, reliving the glory day.
I enjoyed it.
Big Bucs fan over there and Gator fan.
Just kind of soaking it all in, too, you know, I hear the stories, man, and we want to appreciate, we want to just reciprocate by pushing what you're doing in Santa Fe, you know, awesome things, go out and support this team, the Raiders. But back at Rob, we used to say Raider Pride. So Raider Pride. There we go. So for Santa Fe and
in year one, so it's crazy. It's
right around the corner. Like I said, we're going to a team camp tomorrow. So, you know, we get to use that to, you know, connect as a team. And, you know, we start, obviously, our first practice is on the 28th. So it's all coming, you know, really, really fast. But, you know, we have a great community. The boys are working hard. And we'll get a chance to put it out on the field pretty soon.
Yeah, can't wait.
There we go.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and tell you about all the new wax here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast.
All the way from the North Pole. It's me, Santa Claus. I'm here with my friend Steve Spurrier for an amazing Christmas in July offer.
Spurrier's Gridiron gift cards are on sale for 20% off.
Coach, how do they get them?
You can go to Spurriers.com and order a digital card or stop by my restaurant in Celebration Point and pick some up today.
Thanks for being my holiday helper in July, Coach. Hurry, this special Christmas in July offer is for this month month only.
This is Jameel, owner of the Meelypop shop, Gainesville's home for collectibles of all sorts, including every single type of sports cards, whether it be Panini, Topps, Leaf, Upper Deck. We have it. Come on in, get yourself a box, a pack, get yourself some supplies, get into our breaks, get your Pokemon, get your Yu-Gi-Oh! All the other different kinds of TCG products that we carry and shop are always fully in stock. You can find our stuff on our website as well, Meelypops.com. That's another way you can interact with the store, or you can just come into the shop. We're located off 39th Avenue by I-75 behind Walgreens and Sonny's. Stop on by. We're open every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can check us out on our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'd love to see you. Come on out to the shop, have some fun, be a part of the card community here in Gainesville, and always go Gators.
All right, well, great stuff on Earnest Graham. Glad he was able to come in here and saw the Gator helmets. He got to see your Bucs hat, so he was all nostalgic coming up in the old restaurant.
His whole career right there, right? Yeah. Pretty much.
That's what it was. So we'll try to bring you great guests each and every week, and that's what's fun. We get to talk to the athletes, the card industry guys, the hobby crew, and some surprises every now and then as well. Well, never a surprise, though, if you choose to send your stuff to CGC, one of the nation's leading grading companies. Again, submit your collectibles, your sports cards, your trading cards, your comics, your coins, your video games, all that good stuff to CGC. I had a buddy actually text me the other day, and he sent me, and I almost sent it to you, but I knew it was an easy fix because he sent me a couple of different things, and he goes, man, should I get this one that's graded by CGC? And he's like, I just love how the black background looks. And so he really enjoyed it. So
there's aesthetics about grading.
Yeah.
People get all into that, you know. I mean, there's people that call the SGC slabs tuxedos because they're black and white. Yeah. There's CGC. I think a lot of people love them because of the clarity. You can really see the card. Whereas with Beckett, you have subgrades, but Beckett, you lose a little bit of that clarity. They usually put it in a sleeve inside of a case. And so you kind of can lose a little bit of like seeing the card front and back. And then there's PSA, which is kind of this red label, just classic, the industry standard. I think PSA is pretty clear as well. They've done a good job of keeping their slabs pretty clear as well. But yeah, they all have their pros and cons, Jeff.
That's right. That's what it is. All right. Well, always pros and cons when you buy wax. I continue to get wax and get shot down. Can't figure it out. But I know there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of success with it. And I mean, gosh, I just continue to watch the breaks, and you guys are pulling cards left and right. So I'm sure there's some new snazzy stuff again this week.
Yeah, this week is, of course, it's the week before the National, and you have a gazillion things that have to get done. And, you know, everything piles on top, but yet they decide to release some of the biggest releases, of course, of the year. With the number one release, everybody knows about it. It's Topps Chrome Baseball. So Topps Chrome Baseball will come in, 4 iterations on Wednesday this week. It'll be Hobby. It'll be Jumbo, so 12 boxes per case for Hobby, 8 boxes per case for Jumbo. And then you have the Breaker's Delight, which is the 6 boxes per case, kind of small, compact. That's what everybody always wants because the big chases. And then, of course, the Blaster, the value boxes, which people love because it's, you know, cheap and affordable and have fun with that. The mega boxes, I think, for some reason, come out later. But the good news about all this is, you know, Topps Chrome Baseball is here, and now it's kind of like, I always say Top Series 1 and Series 2 are kind of like the flagship, and now Chrome comes out, and it's like the prism, right, of football or basketball. No, so people are excited about it. A lot of awesome cards to chase. Obviously, the inserts are always so fun. The super fracted chases, the rookie card autos. Also, it'll be interesting to kind of see with buyback too. You know, that's another thing too. This program that Topps has, so you can get the buyback players that you anticipate who will be the MVP for this season. So on the AL side, you might have a little bit more of a race. NL side, I don't know, it might be Ohtani again.
Yeah, gosh.
The way it looks, right? I mean, but we'll see. I mean, NL, you never know. So I mean, and there's injuries and things can happen, as we know. So that's kind of the thing a lot of people love to play is like, should I get into a break and buy a team that's not the Dodgers, right? With maybe a player that they want to chase after, whoever it might be, Cal Raleigh or whoever they're chasing, right? And then they might think, hey, these guys might win the MVP. There's an outside shot at it. So that's fun. MVP buyback. Topps Chrome is here. Some other releases. There's actually a lot of releases this week. there's another set from Topps called Reverend Soccer, which I was looking at the sell sheet last night. Really unique autographs with Ronaldo and Messi and old Ronaldo, who had the fun haircut on the top of the set from Brazil, and just kind of some unique cards. Another high-end product from Topps for soccer, which people love. I think I saw Sir Alex Ferguson, the Manchester United coach. I was there forever. Another big chase in that product. So Reverend Soccer we have this week, and then flipping it over to the Panini side, we have Luminance Football and Elite Football. So both of those are 2025 releases, which is great news. 2025, we had Score just come out, which was tons of fun because you had not just the Cam Ward, Shadur, Hunter chases, you also had NIL guys in there too, right? So you got all sorts of quarterbacks that were in there. Big Arch Manning, people are after the Jeremiah Smith autographs. So we'll see what happens with Luminance as well as with Elite, because you're going to see more of this NIL kind of merging into what we can have. So I'm excited to see more football 2025. It's good to get product for that. And then we have a big release in basketball, Noir Basketball, which is such a high-end release. The big card people chase is this card called the Sneaker Spotlight, where they have the autograph and the pair of sneakers that they wear. They sell for big money. Super cool cards. And then Obsidian Soccer kind of to round out Panini. There is one other set that's going to be unique. There's a big, it's kind of a cultic anime on, I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Invincible. A lot of the younger generation knows it. It's kind of this really crazy, kind of a gory anime, but it's a domestic anime. It's English dubbed, and the voice actors in the anime are a big deal. So they made their first trading card set. And so we are one of the first people to break this on our non-sports platform, I think, in the world for this release. It's a brand new release. And it's interesting because they are going to give us national promo packs that they were going to give away at the national, but we actually can break them and give those to customers, which will be fun. And they gave us an uncut sheet of one of the sets that we can give away on the stream as well. So kind of a fun, non-sport world that if you're getting into, different verticals. We've talked about V-Friends, launching recently. This is another world that's another anime that's probably going to have lots of trading card sets. It's only season 1. So it's always interesting to me to look at other ways that the hobby's just, growing. And this is definitely a younger audience, I think. So looking forward to seeing who breaks some of this.
Speaking about looking at other ways to do things, I know for many out there, fantasy football drafts are coming up too, and starting to do all that. I saw a great idea the other day, and maybe we should incorporate this into the Meelypops League. They got all the guys in the league, and they made it like an NFL combine. So they made you run the 50-yard dash.
Oh, 50-yard dash.
Yeah. So that's how they determine the ranking on.
Was it just that you couldn't throw?
No,
kick?
That was it. So literally, so you just go out and you see all these dudes pulling.
I was gonna say hurting themselves probably, right?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we should. And so based on your time is obviously.
Yeah, your time is if you want the number 1 pick.
Do you only get one run? You get 2 like the combine.
You get 2.
Okay.
So another idea.
Hey, maybe we have to go out to a Florida field, mark it up
to make it happen. I've seen people doing celebrities and stuff. They'll pick your draft order on Cameo.
Yeah.
That thing. So there's a lot of creative ideas.
There's some fun stuff out there. I saw a recent fantasy football where the whole team went to Cabo or somewhere, and they had this whole this massive draft set up, and it was it's got kind of a cool thing. But I think that was a serious league where if you lost last place, you had to get a tramp stamp or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's I don't know if we're ready for that one, but
no, it's a little much.
I don't know. You're trying to just find any way you can get an edge over me. You're 8 foot tall, so. How can I keep up with the gazelle that is at you? I mean, can we at least throw in a field goal element or a kick or throw or something?
I kicked a 40-yarder, though, about 2 years ago.
So. In high school, I could do that. So I don't know what I can do now. But
still got it.
We'll see. Soccer paying off.
That's right. He still got it. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, the National is right around the corner. So next time we talk to you, we'll have a lot of insights from what happened up there, and we'll have a new baby.
Yeah,
as well.
Excited for that. Lots of things happening in Meelypops world.
So great stuff. Appreciate to everybody for tuning in. Tell your friends about it to listen, and always go back and however you watch or listen on your podcasts or TV, you can do it here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. For Jameel, I'm Jeff. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Thursday at noon.